The Day the Elves Saved Christmas for Themselves, written by James Whitney Kahn and illustrated by Rebecca Harris Lieberman. This book is dedicated to all the workers and oppressed communities of the world who have lost their lives fighting for our collective liberation, and the proceeds of this book are dedicated to all those who are still fighting. One bright summer night up in the North Pole, elves worked making toys with body and soul. They worked all year round, making children's worlds bright. But oh, Big Red's wrath had them cowering with fright. Work faster, work harder, absolutely no breaks, and don't you dare make even a single mistake. If it weren't for me, you'd have nowhere to go. You'd freeze to death in the ice and the snow. Well said, you're so right, said Baxi the elf, who always looked out only for himself. So on they went working with sore hands and blisters, hoping not to anger their pot-bellied mister. But there was this one elf, Nennel was her name, who was done with endlessly working in pain. He beats us, berates us, just because we're little, she whispered as she finished up on a fiddle. He works one measly day, while we work all year, and he claims to spread magical Christmas cheer. It's our sweat and blood that fill his big toy sacks. All his magical cheer is built on our backs. Well, of course, that's all true, but what can be done? Asked another elf. There's nowhere to run. The exits are always guarded by reindeer. There's no getting past them. Please use your brain here. And don't forget Baxi the snitch in our ranks. If we're caught, we'll get dipped in hot fudge. No thanks. You're scared. I am too, said Nennel the elf, thinking of others as much as herself. But what if we downed tools, didn't run, but we stayed, and refused to work until we were at least paid? Well, then the toys wouldn't get made, said Baxi the elf, who at that moment spoke only for himself. Clang went the hammers as they dropped to the floor, and a bang as Big Red slammed open the door. What's all this racket, or should I say lack thereof? There's none of the noises that I so very love. No hammering, no heaving, no sawing, no screaming. Instead you're all idle, and why are you beaming? We're beaming, said Nennel, you big lazy jerk, 'cause we're done being slaves doing all of your work. We will get paid, she said to Big Red's big glower. Without us, you're nothing. The elves have the power. Without me, you're nothing. Wipe that look off your face, Red bellowed. You rats have to remember your place. Elf power, huh? Who fed you that lie? Now get back to work. But no one batted an eye. He got red through and through, waiting for action, but seeing his threats were getting no traction, Mark my words, I'll be back, Red yelled. You'll regret this day. But he left with just Baxi, and the rest yelled, Hooray! They danced on the tables, they swung from the rafters, and for the very first time there were smiles and laughter. And all through the night, they strategized and they planned how to deal with Big Red's merciless command. We produce toys. Toys produce cheer, Nennel said. It's totally clear. Big Red needs magical cheer to make reindeer fly. Without it, he's just an unbelievable lie. Why shouldn't we keep it for all our elf needs, instead of Big Red hoarding all for his greed? With more cheer, we could have all the toys make themselves. That would finally spell freedom for us hardworking elves. We could have hobbies, healthy families, and more. The future is bright if we shove open the door. And haven't you noticed? The North Pole's getting hot. Enough cheer could magically stop it on the spot. But with Big Red in charge, we're all doomed. That's a fact. So I say let's take over and give him the sack. But we can't fight. It's so tragic, said one tiny elf. He's got reindeer and magic, and all we have is ourselves. But Nettle was on it, and with a wham and 3 cracks, she carved out a razor-sharp candy cane axe. We can build! Let's get going! Now don't be thrifty! Here's 1 axe, but let's make 30 or 50! And let's make gumdrop sludge bombs and a fudge cannon too! Big Red's got nothing on what little elves can do. So they toiled for hours until they were well armed, determined that they would never again be harmed. But in stormed Big Red, with snarling reindeer in tow, and the most bone-chilling, earth-shaking, ho, ho, ho. What have we here? An elf revolution? Ha, 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 ha. Well, here's some restitution for your treacherous crimes, Nettle. You will answer. Bring her, dead or alive. On Dasher, on Dancer. Dasher rammed her with antlers as he answered Red's call, and Nettle looked so little pinned up against the wall. All the elves froze in shock. None of them were trained soldiers. They no longer felt bigger, no longer felt bolder. Now forget these demands and get back to your task. And the next time you want something, here's a tip. Don't ask. We won't, said a voice from behind Big Red. We've got the power, so we'll take it instead. Flush with magic cheer, out stepped Baxi the elf, who for the first time thought not just of himself. Zazoom! He yelled, and Dasher's antlers shrank down, and Dancer's whole face transformed into a clown. The stunned reindeer dropped Nettle as their jaws fell slack. Baxi healed all her wounds, and the elves, they were back! They launched the fudge cannons, chased Big Red away, until the only things left were the tracks from his sleigh. They raided Red's storage and transformed the North Pole from a place to be worked to a place to be whole. The toys made themselves, fueled by all that extra cheer, and before they knew it, Christmas time was here. They sent toys all over the world that night to children of all religions. What a sight. And to each, with parents who were forced to work hard and long hours for some big lazy jerk, they added a letter and had this to say. Dear friends, today is the dawn of a new day. Big Red is gone, and in the North Pole we're free. No more is forced labor waiting under your tree. We drove out our boss and now live without fear. We hope that this news and these toys bring you cheer. We'll stand with you when you rise like we did for ourselves. Merry Christmas to all. In solidarity, the Elves.